Revelation 1121. From the 28th of September 1939. Work of the Spirit. Put to the test. The spiritual state of the people is still so confused, and their thinking is far removed from the right knowledge. And therefore it is very difficult to give them information about the working of the Spirit in man, because they do not want to recognize anything else than what appears to them visibly and tangibly. They exclude anything completely from their thoughts which, however, leads to the right solution, and thus the working of that which, according to their concept, does not exist at all, cannot be explained to them. And it is just as impossible to convince people of the existence of the Spirit, since again nothing external points to it, but everything spiritual is only spiritually noticeable or perceptible. The realistic man demands proofs and wants to have everything purely factually justified. A factual justification, a proof of the existence of the divine spirit in man, would only be possible by way of a test. That man would declare himself ready to fulfill all preconditions for the awakening of the divine spirit. Then he would experience the credibility of it in himself. Instead, the person who believes to be all-inclusive, rejects the experience of the other and remains spiritually blind. He is not familiar with an inner life of the soul. The outer life occupies him and his thinking completely, and his spirit slumbers in deepest envelopment and cannot free itself from it. And almost nothing brings about a turnaround of such thinking. He who cultivates spiritual thinking is ridiculed, and they are so foolish to consider their own wrongful thinking as the only truth, and they ridicule and criticize the world. Even there, where the aim is to bring people to God, the same blind spiritual condition is to be found, because also their thinking is too earthly, although the will is good. But they lack depth of faith, because this must be brought to development in every human being himself and cannot be taught by one person to another in a school-like way. Interruption.